It's the Celebratic event. We are the Omnia Opera.
My name's Andy Jones. I'm 58 years old. When I was sort of, 15, 16, I got a bass guitar and that was it. I was going to be a rock star, that was my thing. And I hadn't really thought about having a family or any of that stuff. I was just like, no, I'm going to make a living doing music. That's what I'm going to do. And I tried very hard at that for many years. With various bands, and when you're in the band you sort of forget that that's what you're trying to do. You're just having a good time. Anyway, it soon dawns on you that like 20 years later that you're still scrotting around on the dole playing gigs but not really making much out of it. So it kind of, I decided at some point later in life that I needed to sort of buckle down and think about getting jobs. Yeah. Having a proper living, but that's what my aspiration was to play music. We got to support some of the bands that we really admired. We were really into a band called Hawkwind. They were quite a big band back in the 70s, they could pack out stadiums and all that. We got to play with them. That was great, not at a stadium because they sort of weren't quite as popular then. And we just supported lots of bands that we really admired, and we really, I think really the best part of it was just doing the gigs and just having good times. And we kind of ended up playing this venue a lot in Birmingham called the Mermaid. It was like an old pub, and in the pub it was full of like punks and hippies, and there was this kind of weird group of people that sort of became mergers of punks and hippies. They were like, we used to call them mutants. They looked a bit like a mixture of the two. Like if you threw a punk and hippie in a washing machine, what came out was this weird mutant punk hippie thing. And we got into all that scene, we started playing, mad punky space rock songs, Actually, I finished a degree course at the ripe age of 43. I went to University in Worcester and I did a creative digital media course, which at the time involved some filming and photography and graphic design, all those kind of things. And the technician pool at the time needed someone to come and do a few hours work a week. So I got this contract for 100 hours work a week. And the long and short of it is I did that contract, then I did another one, and then I ended up getting a full-time job. And then I ended up getting a better full-time job. And I'm still here 12 years later. I think what it was because it was like, we used to do lots of recordings, we record albums and all that kind of stuff. We had a recording studio, we still got a recording studio here. And I thought, oh well, that's interesting, I know a bit about that because I've done a bit of recording. So I think the reason I ended up doing this and why it's a big jump is because I was living at home in Malvern, I got married, and I wasn't earning any money really. I was just doing painting and decorating. The music had sort of was on and off really. And so it was a conscious decision to try and do something more positive in my life, because it wasn't really going anywhere. And so that's kind of why the jump happened. I just was lucky enough to get enrolled on the course. Really. I didn't really have a portfolio. In fact, years later, because I went in for the interview for the university, and I had a few pictures which I'd drawn when I was like 16. It was ridiculous, some little birds and stuff like that. And I took them in, and I had this interview, with these two lecturers who later became friends when I got in on the course. And a few years later, the guy said, when you came for your interview, you really didn't have much to show us. Based on what you've shown us, we weren't going to offer you the place at all. But you were so enthusiastic that we just took a risk. We said, let's give him a chance. And so that was nice. So, enthusiasm, can get you a long way. So that was nice to know. Well, actually, it's oddly enough, the band, it's not really finished. It does this thing where it goes on hiatus for years at a time. Like we started the band in 1985. And then that finished in the early 90s, and then there was a 12-year gap. And then we got the band back together again, albeit with a slightly different keyboard. And then it went on for another 5 or 6 years, and then it stopped again. We had a break in 2013, so let's have a break for a year, and that kind of just carried on. So it didn't really end like a split up. We just had a break and then never got back together again.
So are you still playing now then?
I haven't for a long time, no. But when I think about playing, I sort of, if you watch a band on TV or see a gig or something, it kind of makes you kind of, oh yeah, I could do a bit of that, yeah. I remember that, it was great. But then you start thinking, oh yeah. But the other side of it is just like you're married to 4 or 5 people, you know, and you've got to make sure everybody's singing from the same hymn sheet, and it's really difficult. That side of the band can be really hard. You know, people are late, they don't turn up, people don't do what they're supposed to, and all that sort of stuff happens, and it becomes really draining. So unless everybody's fired up and going in the same direction, it becomes quite difficult. I miss it sometimes, but not that much.
Crush down the affection, burning the daylight slumber.